What is up, everyone? I'm Brandon Tyrell. This is Godlike Episode 3. I'm joined by Kyle O'Connor.
What's up, guys?
And Vince Ingenito.
Wow, you nailed my name.
Yeah.
You did it.
I tried.
You're over the hump.
I watched it, and I was like, I bet I can pronounce that.
It's all uphill from here, buddy.
Yeah,
It's all roses.
Before we get into who our guest is, you might notice that Alfredo Diaz is no longer with us. He's moved on to other things, and he's doing his own thing. We wish him the best. But we do have a guest in studio.
Hello, my name is Blake, or MBlakeW in game. I'm a eSports coordinator for Hi-Rez Studios.
Hi.
Welcome for coming on our show.
Thanks, man.
So we brought Blake in because we get a lot of emails and letters. I guess we don't get letters. That's not true at all. We get a lot of emails.
Fan mail.
We get a lot of comments, lots of comments, Reddit messages,
Tweets.
Basically, we get a lot of communication from people who are interested in playing Smite but don't really know what a MOBA is, and B, getting better at Smite because they get in there and they enjoy it. But as user generic 1 emailed us, could you please do an episode where you explain the basics of MOBAs to all the new demo players? Because he was getting in there having trouble really understanding what's happening, and that's totally understandable.
Yep. Well, it's a game that when you jump in, you're like, oh, this was really familiar, makes a lot of sense, but all the rules are super foreign if you don't really know what you're doing.
Yeah, and I mean, there's even though Smite is a little bit more accessible than some of the other MOBAs out there, there's still, it's not accessible in the sense that it's stripped out elements. It's that it's taken most of those elements that exist in Dota and League and just made them a little bit less obtuse, right? And so it's still, by any other comparison of any other kind of multiplayer game that you play, still way more complex.
Yeah.
So, yeah, totally helps for people to understand all those moving parts.
Yeah. So, I mean, Blake, you are the eSports coordinator for Hi-Rez. Can you give us your general 1-minute elevator pitch? What is a MOBA with regard to how Smite handles it?
Right. So I would say that a MOBA is generally a team-based strategy game. It could be 3v3, it could be 5v5, depending on your flavor. But it's all about kind of elements of tower defense, elements of team fighting and strategy, and all kind of coming under this one common goal of fighting together to take down the enemy objective. Some MOBAs are more, I guess, objective-based than team fight-based. I'd say Smite is a good mixture of both of them, pushing your advantage. And, what makes Smite unique in the MOBA space is definitely that, third-person camera angle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it does feel like a same rules, different game kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So I know a lot of players are going to be coming to Smite from other MOBAs out there, right? Like Smite is generally considered one of the top 3 MOBAs on the market. League of Legends and Dota 2 being the other 2, right?
Yes.
And so I'm actually the only one here that doesn't have an extensive sort of background with one or the other. But it's super fortunate that I've got you guys here because, Kyle, you come from League.
Yes, I've got like 600 games played on that.
Wow, that's quite a bit. And Vince comes from Dota.
Yeah, I've got about close to 600 hours on Dota. Yeah.
Blake, you just play everything that has the word MOBA in it, right?
Yeah, so I technically come from League,
Okay.
back in Season 2. So I have about, pretty much the same amount of games you have played as well. I can't get into Dota 2 because I don't have a degree in Dota.
You feel like you need it, yeah.
You got to be a scholar to play Dota.
Oh yeah, but that's how that's one of the things I love about it, and that's not for everyone. But I approach games in a very academic, mechanical way.
There are people like that. That's not me, but yeah, there are. Definitely not me. I just go in and I'm terrible. But sorry, carry on saying what you were saying.
No, that's fun.
Yeah,
that's why. I picked up Smite. I jumped into Smite for the first time during the demo period this past weekend, and it was like so if Dota 2 was like being at university, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like writing my thesis. And then Smite was like going on spring break. It was a blast. It wasn't a lesser experience. It was just like, okay, I take all the stuff I know already and I just kind of go to town and go 18-2 on people who don't know what a MOBA is.
Yeah.
It's like great.
That's a good analogy. It's definitely accurate.
So you're that guy. All right.
Yep. And proud of it, damn it.
Welcome to hell, noob.
And it's true, Brandon. You're right. I'm totally the guy who's like, I'm just having fun. I'm gonna do whatever. Yeah, because there's so many times when him and I play. He's like, Kyle, go. What are you doing? Kyle, stop. I'm just like, diving under his towers.
I'm like hyper competitive. Like I'm all about the W. Like this isn't fun. This is a job. Like, you get in your lane and you don't move until I tell you to move. And you're like, hey, you're being kind of a jerk. all right. That's right. We're here to have fun.
I'm only having fun if I'm winning.
That's right. Who wants to lose? That's not fun. Get back in lane. So Blake, you have experience in both a little, but all three of you guys, I mean, it's. I think we're in a really good position for you to talk about that transition from Dota and League to Smite, right? Like, I think it's really cool, and we see this in the comments where players are like, hey, you know, I play League, Smite looks cool, but, you know, I'm a League player, or, hey, I play Dota, and this looks like...
League number one, Smite sucks. It's like, well, yeah, there's multiple games. Like,
we can enjoy more than one game, guys. That's fine.
It's
That's not true.
It's video games, not a clan war. It's totally fine.
Actually, yeah, it's kind of close to both.
Yeah, it's totally...
I thought you were about to punch me. Actually,
no.
Vince, it is a clan war.
Smite is the best.
Get out of here.
No, seriously, you failed. Get out.
My hard drive's only got enough space for one.
I know,
for
seriously.
One game.
I got...
Oh, that's your saddest computer.
That's
the saddest hard drive ever.
I got that 2 gig hard drive.
It's 2015, guys. You could put it on a thumb drive.
Man.
Yeah,
I got
exactly.
one game on there. I don't care about anything else.
I don't have choices. Choices. Who wants to make decisions?
SSD problems. That's
Yeah.
what that is. Like,
Oh my god.
But so, you know, on the other hand, we do get those comments that say like, hey, I'm usually playing League or I'm usually playing Dota, but Smite looks rad. Like it's not something that I'm used to in the MOBA space. So talk about that. Like, let me just throw it out there and see who picks it up. Like, what is it like coming from one of the more traditional MOBAs to this?
I kind of like what Blake said earlier when you said Smite had a good balance of team fights versus like pushing objectives and things like that. I feel like for the little I've played of Dota, I haven't played much of Dota, that Dota is hyper objective focused. Like objectives are everything in Dota. And then League is there's phases. There's clear phases. Like you're supposed to be laning during this phase. And then now this is the team fight phase. This is where, and in between laning and team fights, you should be focused on objectives. I feel like Smite is a total balance of the two. Like, you can kind of pick your style and follow whether you want to be really hyper objective focused or laning focused or team fight focused, and it's all valid. I don't know if you would agree with that, but
I would say that that Dota is a little bit more objective focused than team based focused, but of course that shifts with the meta, right? Like as you know, like when TI4 last year, it was all just 5-man death ball pushes and so that shifts and goes here and there. But what I would say for sure is that I think that Dota, and it sounds like from what you're saying, League, I haven't played a lot of League, but they have kind of defined phases of the game. There's kind of a beginning, a middle, and an end. The beginning is really the laning phase, and you're spending time not always staying in lane, but you're kind of focused on getting up your CS, getting map vision, establishing presence, making space for your ADC, like whatever, all those things. I feel like the main thing that surprised me moving over from Dota 2 to Smite, and I actually think it's pretty cool, is ganking is obviously important in Dota 2 for those, if you're new to MOBAs and you don't know what a gank is. It's basically when a character rotates from one lane to another to kind of surprise gang up on another enemy player and get an early kill. So like ganking is definitely a thing in Dota 2, and the best teams are doing it early. But I feel like in Smite, like ganking is life. Like I feel like the game is designed in such a way so that because of the third-person camera, people do not have that like 360 degrees of awareness. Yeah. So it's very easy to catch them by surprise. And then you also kind of can just see kind of infrared vision through walls if like your minions or your teammates have vision of a hero.
If you spot the other guy, you can see him across the map.
Yeah, you can easily spot them and see what their health is at, just like at a glance. So I think between those two things, I feel like Smite is a little bit more. Again, this is coming as someone who's only played over this one weekend, but it seems like it's more rotation heavy. Rotations happen often and fast, and ganking is like highly incentivized. I feel. I don't know if you would say that's accurate. This is again coming as a new guy compared to Dota 2 anyway.
Yeah, so the jungler's kind of a weird space, right?
Yeah, very much so. And I love it.
Generally in MOBAs, you have 2-1-1. So like two people in one lane, and one in another, one in another. And that's pretty standard. And then you have these guys in the jungle where, a lot of people would argue that it's their job to, come and give you that advantage to help you win your lane. And then other people would argue that you're never supposed to lose your lane in the first place. So, their job's kind of null and void. So it's definitely that weird role, but in Smite, I would say that definitely because of the camera angle and just the way that the map rotation functions on your jungle paths and the different objectives around the map. If you're trying to take Gold Fury for some extra coins early, you're gonna prioritize that lane where the Gold Fury is. You want to kill both those guys, so you can just rotate over and take it easily.
Right.
So it definitely helps to set up a lot more objective play. Like I think that's the jungler's role is trying to be as disruptive as possible.
And something else that I see that's interesting to me about it, again coming from the Dota side of things, is that so in Dota, obviously early on your goal is not to push the creep line. Like you want to keep the creep line under control.
Freeze
you
the
want
lane.
you want to freeze the lane, maintain equilibrium, keep it as close to your tower as possible so that you're safe. Whereas the mid laner, the solo mid laner in Dota 2 will, when runes are spawning, they'll want to clear a wave quick so they can run off, grab a look and check for a rune and come back without losing any CS, without losing any XP or gold. I feel like in Smite, it seems like almost every lane functions that way because you are incentivized to clear the lane. Because clearing the lane and forcing the line underneath the other guy's tower is kind of like the main way I feel of denying them gold. They still get XP, I believe, right?
Yeah.
But they don't get gold if it dies underneath their tower. So it's kind of like push hard and clear, and then while they're dealing with their problem, I'll run off and gank or jungle or whatever.
I feel like in Smite, like there's very few times where there's a downside to sort of. There are occasions where you don't want to push the lane, but rarely is there ever an area where I feel like pushing the lane is a bad idea, except putting yourself out there for a potential gank because you do have that third-person camera angle. You can't see guys coming from the back, right? So getting up too close to their tower, odds are generally somebody in middle lane or solo lane or maybe somebody else that is missing their opponent in lane is going to call that out, right?
Yeah.
That someone's rotating over towards
Hopefully.
you.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Use the V system. It's there for a reason.
Yeah.
I would say you could take it a step even further than that, and so the minions in Smite do a lot of damage.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, they do. I noticed that this weekend.
And I think that definitely if you're coming from, another MOBA or you're just kind of new to the series, that's something, you kind of take from, this NPCs. Oh, wait, they actually do tons of damage.
Yeah.
So, if you're kind of pressing that lane advantage of, I can clear a lot quicker than the third other guy, so I'm going to do that. And he's got two choices. He can sit back and be denied gold, or he can tank it, making him more susceptible to a gank, but he's going to get some gold.
Yeah, he's going to get gold or take a bunch of damage.
Yeah, so, kind of like you said, like, there's not ever... Like it's pretty rare that there's a bad time to push the lane. I'm sure somebody's going to disagree.
I'm seeing it now.
Well, actually,
yeah, I'm seeing. You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm seeing it now in the meta, but we're getting a little off message. So I mean, what would you say, like, to sum up the whole conversation, sort of, what would you say is like the one or two main real key things, very succinctly, like the key things to take in mind when you're transitioning from like League or Dota to Smite?
I would say if you're transitioning from another MOBA, find those key elements in the MOBA that you have the most hours on and see how those relate in Smite. When I first got into Smite coming from, League of Legends, I was like, oh, this character is blah, blah, blah. Like, it reminds me of this. Like, it's not exactly the same, but this item or this character or this playstyle reminds me of this. So I was kind of able to,
Jace.
Yeah, take that mental log and, apply it to that character until I learned more. But it helped me, like, function through that learning patch.
Cool. Yeah, so just take what's relatable and apply it.
And for me, like, coming from Dota, I think the two quick things is push hard, gank often.
Cool.
That's the thing. Like, don't spend that first 15 minutes sitting in your lane, just trying to keep the balance, like push hard. And
it might be safe,
move.
But you pay for it later.
Right, absolutely.
I want a shirt that says that. Push hard, gank off.
That is actually a good one.
Trademarked.
Someone get working on it right
right now.
Well, that kind of brings us to a good point to transition into our next topic, which is really kind of on the same lines. Is once you do get into Smite, right? Because everybody joins at some point.
You should.
Everybody.
I've converted so many people in the office.
Have you?
No, I'm in. I'm telling you, I'm in.
Yeah. Well, you were telling me like, oh yeah, I was playing the Xbox One for like 8 hours straight.
yeah, totally. It was like my Saturday and Sunday with my girlfriend. She was like, "Try this hero, try that hero. I want to see that one." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, and
I
like
guess
she was just watching it and enjoying it. And I
and
think,
played.
And I think that's a lot to do. Oh, that's cool. I think that's a lot to do with the art style and just everything. The mythology.
She loves the art style.
It's super cool.
Game's beautiful.
It's so gorgeous. Yeah.
Sound too.
An Unreal Engine.
But really, like, so Twitter user Mike McGillen hit us up, and he said, just started playing Smite, and I'm getting slaughtered, like you do. So, any tips to get better? And sort of in the same arena, Luis Munoz Cordova sent us an email asking, "What's the easiest guide to start playing? What's the most difficult?" So, like, taking these sort of questions and just let's put it all into one package where we can say, hey, did you just start playing Smite? Like, this is what you need to do. Give me the basics starting out. Like, what does a good player need to do, or a player need to do to be good?
Yeah, kind
Blake.
of a loaded question because it's different for everybody. I would say that one of the best things that you could do is get in some practice modes. Like if it is truly your first time playing and you have no idea what any of the gods do, there's conquest practice, there's arena practice. You can play it by yourself, you can play it with other people and bots, and jungle practice. Like just kind of pressing and learning the abilities, like learning how the game functions. And then you can kind of go from there. Like I think that's probably the best thing you can do. And if you're feeling antsy, maybe get into an arena. Like I do think arena's a really great place to kind of learn kits and test out, and really learn how to team fight. Like if arena's going to teach you anything,
it's going to be
how to team fight.
Yeah.
Opportune moments to engage.
And there's a definite difference between fighting a Guan Yu in a practice mode and fighting a Guan Yu player. Like just understanding how certain players chain skills together, right? How they go through their rotations, how they approach situations. Like you got to wade in slowly, right? Get used to like having another player on the other end of that other god that you don't really know yet. And that's you bring up a good point. Like I was talking to somebody, and I think it might have been you actually, Vince. Something about the suite of sort of practice options in Smite is up there, like if not the best, one of the best in any MOBAs.
I think it's probably the best from the ones that I've played. Dota has improved over the years. They've added new features to the client. They've got like 1v1 practice, and they've got a few different modes that are in there. But I feel like, so I come from the fighting game background,
right?
And in the fighting game, a lot of people would say a good fighting game is only as good as its training mode.
That's how you and I connected on fighting games, because you saw me just immediately jump into training mode on Injustice.
Right, exactly. And to me, the training mode or the lab, that's where all the learning happens, where you can set up all the different situations and explore the systems and understand how the game is played and what the mechanics have to offer. And I feel like Dota doesn't really do a great job with that. You can just jump into a bot match and spawn items with a bunch of cheat codes and stuff, but Smite really puts it front and center and says, hey, jump into this jungle practice. You can stand on this thing to level up more. You have an unlimited amount of gold. Look at the items as long as you want. Get whatever items you want. You want to go fight jungle creeps. You want to go fight lane minions. You want to go test out this ability on a hero. Fine, just go crazy and do whatever you want to do. And for me, starting out, I feel like that's really important, because the thing that I'm lost with is it took me a long time to get comfortable with the grimoire of items in Dota 2. And, as much as I have a strong conceptual understanding of it, playing Smite and starting from scratch with that knowledge is
it's a whole new
it's a whole new thing. So even just being able to go into that the jungle practice and just staring at the store for, I don't want to admit how long, but but staring at it and getting a sense of,
it's not embarrassing either, because there are over 100 items, I'd say, somewhere around there.
Oh man, I don't even know.
And
a lot.
And they do transition between MOBAs, right? Like you've got your hard hitting crit item, and then you've got your your magic, your big bulwark magic item, right? That magic defense. So it's just understanding like the new names and understanding really what they do. I totally agree. Like, understanding the store is like key to really understanding how to play any given situation. But auto buy, auto level are both two super cool mechanics.
I was going to build off of what Vince said, but I agree. I would go a little further and say Smite is the most friendliest to new players just because of the fact that you've got all these practice modes. You can practice with humans against AI, which I know other games do, and then you've also got the auto level, auto buy, which is, I feel like, just puts it head and shoulders above even League of Legends. I'm a big League of Legends fan. It's a great game, but they don't have that. Like, if you're trying to focus on your basic mechanics and understanding and core understanding of the game, you don't want to have to be worrying about, like, oh wait, should I be leveling this next?
Yep.
Should I, what, am I building the right thing? Like, no, just put me on a generic build path, put me on a generic, like, build path with items and skills, and let me just learn the game. And that's what Smite does.
And it's good too. Like the item builds will change. You're gonna tell the story?
I've said it. I've said the story already.
The item builds will change depending on what god you are and depending on what game you're in, right?
Yeah.
So you're in Conquest as Thor. You're gonna build different items than Thor might be a bad example, but you're in Conquest with a god. You're gonna build different items than you would in an arena with the same god.
So we should. Actually, I want to give some suggestions to answer the questions directly. Like, what are the first things you need to do to find success in the particular MOBA?
Yeah, fire away.
I feel like you should identify your playstyle. Well, for me, it's like ranged is just not my thing. I can play mages, I can play ADCs. It's just not my thing. I like to be in the thick of it. I like to be swinging something heavy, and I like to be able to take a lot of damage. So if that's your playstyle, you should play a god like that. You shouldn't be playing, a super fragile ranged character or mage. If you just, or if that's what you like, if you like to be on the outskirts of the battle and just picking people off, then you should play in, is it a marksman? Is that how they identify it in Smite?
Hunter.
Okay. So it'd be hunter or mage, and that's your best bet. Or if you're really all about hit and run, you should play like an assassin character like Loki, or someone that's going to just hit really hard and then get out of the fray.
Yep.
I feel like that's a good thing to do.
I think that there's still value, though. I think it's actually almost required that eventually, in order to find success in Smite, you're just like any MOBA, you're going to have to learn every god.
Yeah.
Inside and out, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not only playing the god that you're playing the god that is across from you.
Trying to anticipate their moves, and you can only do that if you know their tool set.
Yeah.
And that's a fighting game thing too.
Yeah.
That's something that you learn coming from fighting games as well. Is that and certainly from Dota 2, without a doubt, is that you're only as good as the knowledge you have.
Yep.
You cannot fight someone you don't know if you don't know what they're capable of. Like, you're just flailing in the dark. So yeah, it's super important. Like I was gonna say, I think you're right. Definitely catering to your play style is important.
You're gonna hate it if you're a bruiser and you want to brawl with people, and then you play someone who's super fragile in the mix. You're just not gonna have a good time.
Yeah, you won't have a good time, and you won't be effective. I mean, like if the character doesn't suit your particular strengths and weaknesses, you're not gonna be very successful. But yeah, absolutely. Like for me, the thing that helped me out right off the bat was just, hey, this guy looks kind of cool. Let's see what he's like. Oh, this guy has a cool sounding passive. Like, let me see what that's like in practice. And then all of a sudden, after a couple of days of playing, I'm realizing, like, hey, I go into a conquest and I know what that person does, and now I know where not to be. I know not to be standing right in front of Anubis and just get like bandaged and like
Melted.
DPS and melted instantly.
Yeah.
Like, I know not to be there.
Yeah, the first time you get hit with Anubis's bandages or Isis's silence or any of that, you're just like,
God,
what the
that
hell was
silence.
that?
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't do anything, and then I got nuked to death.
Yeah.
So, I mean, definitely knowing what you're fighting is, I think, as important probably as knowing the god that you play. Do you have any thoughts on like god picks or
easy gods, starter gods?
Well, gods suited to your
Easy
playstyle?
starter gods. Oh man, that's a tough one.
I started with Anubis.
You started with Anubis?
Yeah, Anubis and Kali, like old Kali.
So I started playing the hunter role, and I actually hate it.
I do too, but my ping is like a baseline 120. I never go below 120, so I'm like, I'm fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah, like
I'm fighting my internet
when I'm on
connection
the East
and
Coast,
the other
it's
guy.
like 30 ping. I'm like, all right, I can do it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I'm out here.
And then you live out here, right?
Yeah,
as well.
So I'm
yeah.
out here in California now, and it's like, all right, 120. Guess I'm maining mages.
Yep.
You know?
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess yeah, like finding that role. I think Raw is great for mages. Like I think he's super versatile.
Yeah.
And definitely pretty forgiving. Like
He's super good.
yeah, and great. Like it's super high skill cap. But I think he's one of the easier kits to get along with.
And just to jump in real quick, like every god has a difficulty rating assigned to them, right? Like Hi-Rez will say this is an easy god, this is an average god, this is very hard or very easy. So you can kind of find out how much synergy each of the skill has, or like there are some gods where like one of their abilities also changes their stance and adds protections or a buff to them, and so you have to kind of micromanage all of that. But there's definitely different gods for different levels of investment.
And I would also say, though, as much as those difficulty ratings can be helpful for some people, I would say let trying them out be the final deciding factor, because my girlfriend saw Anubis and she was like, "Oh, he looks cool." We both like really dig Egyptian gods, just like visually. So she was like, "Oh, Anubis, look, that's cool. Like you should try Anubis." And then she was like, "Oh, he's they say it's very hard. Maybe since we're starting out, we shouldn't try him out." And I was like,
"Really?"
Huh. Yeah, I if I remember, unless I'm completely misremembering, it said very hard. And then I started playing this guy, and I'm like, I just land a bandage and melt someone. Like I don't.
3, 2, 4.
Exactly
3,
right.
2,
Yeah,
4.
exactly.
I win.
Exactly. And I was like, I don't see what's very hard about this.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, maybe because he's squishy or I don't know.
I think it's balanced in the Conquest map and at a team level as well.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
for his ult, he's mobile, so he just gets
Sure.
to pop.
Right.
Like,
Sure.
He
becomes an
does-
instant target.
and then you're 4v5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
half his kit he plants his feet, so I couldn't understand that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But in like arena, it's
Oh, Arena is great.
yeah.
I would go ahead. I can actually give this guy a god that I would personally suggest for an easy first start play. I would say Thor. I think Thor is super. He's super fun. He's not particularly complex. I think the most complex thing he does is he can teleport to his hammer.
Yeah.
That's about it. But on a basic level, when you're just meeting him, like, oh, cool, you're 3, you spin in place. Your 2 is a stun and a wall, and then your number 1 is just that projectile.
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good.
And he's super flashy too, which will appeal to people who are trying to be new.
Yeah, that ult is like I saw
My
that the
favorite.
first time I saw Thor's ult, I was like, yeah, this is a game I want to play.
Yeah. I did that
He's
to you.
Superman.
Ren.
Yeah.
He's Superman.
He is kind of.
My favorite thing is stealing kills with the ult. So much fun.
Yeah.
You know how that
remember
feels.
that. We were playing Joust on the Xbox One, and I had a Raw and an Ares on me.
He
And
soloed them.
They were both full health, and I was at half health, and I soloed both of them, killed Raw. Ares took off, and I'm like, nope, I'm coming for you, baby. And I started chasing him, and then Thor just dunks right on top of him, and I was like, what did you do?
And he's like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm like, nope, I'm taking it. Because I was already
Don't you
in
do
the air.
it. The chain actually hit him. I needed 2 more ticks. Anyway,
That's a cute story.
it doesn't bother me at all.
That's why I keep getting push pins stuck into my seat.
Yeah, exactly. God.
Oh man.
So, like, aside from gods and aside from, we talked a little bit about modes. I think every mode in Smite sort of focuses on one aspect of what ultimately culminates in Conquest,
Yeah.
right? You've got your Joust, which is really good with both laning and, some jungle mechanics. You've got Siege, which is sort of the next step of that as well, right? So, and then you've got Arena, which is team fighting, basically deathmatch. And then you've got Assault, which a lot of people say, well, there's no practical application. But for me, I think Assault is all about sustainability, like learning how to stay alive in lane, in a team fight, knowing when to engage and when not, because you can't go back.
It also pushes you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, that's true. Although I do love the fact that, like, it's all middle, all random, all middle, basically. It's Smite's ARAM. I do love the fact that, like, going in there, I know people aren't going to be playing with their top tier guys. Like,
Unless
I
you got
know.
unlucky.
Plus, there's some fun in just let's see what happens. Let's see what comp we get, and let's see if we can make it work.
Yep.
Making the best of a bad situation. That's Assault in a nutshell.
Yeah, and honestly, going back to the idea of playing with lots of different heroes, a lot of the times in games like this, and I not just MOBAs, but any mechanically rich multiplayer game, I feel like being put in a situation that's not your optimal and figuring out how to use the tools to survive and find success, that will only make you a better player when you go back to what your normal bread and butter is.
Totally.
Yeah, there's no situation where you come out of that not having learned something.
Right.
And that's like in a lot of people, one big thing for like competitive games and like you said, mechanically intense games is like the answer is always to adapt. Like you need to adapt on the fly to what's happening, and I feel like Assault lets you do that and teaches you how to do that and how to be resourceful when you're out of your comfort zone.
Right.
Because you're not always going to be at full health. You're not always going to be playing the god you love.
Yeah, absolutely. And learning combinations with gods, right? Like learning, I mean, what can Serket and Isis do together? Like, who knows? Let's find out, right?
Yeah.
Plus, it's the only place you buy meditation, so that's nice.
There, just for learning, like there's also a ton of resources online for
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
community is amazing around Smite. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Like the Smite community is just phenomenal.
I mean, let's just plug some. Like, I personally really enjoy Tier Monster, right?
Yeah,
and
Tier
then
Monster.
for
Smite Fire.
Smite Fire
I
is
used a
great.
lot this
Smite Lite is sort of an analytics-driven version of Tier Monster
Grapple.
now.
I use Grapple to look at gods.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but that's also a good.
Yeah,
program.
all these are really great resources. And in addition, I know Hi-Rez does their own stuff. Like, they have really amazing video, like not only video production quality, but like the content that is in those videos is really great. They have, videos about, I mean, you would know better than I would, right? Like, so
Yeah.
you just a quick overcap of your series that people can go to.
So you have like learn what is it? Know your enemy.
Yep.
Gods in 60 seconds. So
Which is
just
a cool,
kind of lot
yeah.
of you're in and you're out. Like it's not like 20 or 30-minute in-depth analysis about a god or anything, but it's quick tips you can take to improve your game.
Yeah, and they really are like, hey, check out what Thor does in 60 seconds, like spin to win,
Yeah.
Like, it's super succinct, and it's really helpful actually. I enjoy watching them still, and then the lore trailers if you're really digging on the aesthetic, which I think all of us kind of do, right? Like that's why we play. One of the reasons we play.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
there's lots of good resources, but that kind of gives us a good point to jump off into. Let's talk about players like myself, like Kyle, not so much Vince, because you literally just started this weekend.
Yep.
Let's talk about players that have been playing Smite for a while, right? I have a few thousand matches under my belt, and I am by no means, I consider myself okay. Like, I don't consider myself even near top tier. Like, I mostly hang out in casuals, I'll dabble in rank every once in a while. Not really though, because I just don't want to, I don't have the time to put into really forging a team and like practicing all that much. So, I'll hang out in casuals and I have fun with my friends and we play Assault and Arena. Sometimes we'll play Conquest. We play a lot of Siege, right? But I'm not a pro, like, at all. I'm not even what I would consider good. Like, when I play a good player, I know it. I was like, I will remember this. Hazy Muffin 47.
It's like some terrible name.
Yeah.
It's like Hazy Muffin 98. And you're like, oh my God, you're 17.
The names are the best part. Like, we have a running joke, me and my crew. There's this player on Smite, and if you're watching, I'll see you again. He's like a unicorn, right? Like, sometimes you see him. His name's John Deathwing. It's just the best name I could think of. Yeah, John Deathwing. It's like a Bond villain, but like, then why wouldn't you go like Sebastian Deathwing or like something super exotic? But every time I see him, we all freak out. Like, someone sent me a picture 2 nights ago. I'm driving home. It's like, dude, it's fucking John Deathwing in the arena queue. And I was like, no, it's him. But
Did you get wrecked by John Deathwing?
no, he's good. He's good.
Yeah?
Yeah. From what I remember. But that name, I just love it. And he plays Hercules a lot, which kind of fits it, I guess. It's just, I don't know. It's amazing. But
to get back on track.
what
we're asking
I get on tangents
is
so
what
easily.
can you do to up your game to the next level?
Yeah, what can we do to, if you have your friends that you play with, what can you do to really take it up to the next level? And I feel like you're the perfect person to talk to about this, since you're surrounded really by the esports scene in Smite.
Blake's just like, just get good.
Yeah,
That's
just
what you
get
gotta
good.
do. Just get good.
G-I-T-G-U-D. Get good.
Get good.
If
On
you
my
could
knuckles.
PayPal me $20.
Yeah, exactly. Lesson starting with Blake.
So a couple of different things, I guess. One of the things that I like to do is go into a custom match with your friend. A 1v1 doesn't matter. So
Yeah.
if you want to practice like specific matchups in lane, you can go to the Joust map, practice it specifically. If you want to practice like anything in there, 2v2s, 3v3s, like, the custom map is an incredible resource. If you have a couple of friends to go in there and just kind of hash it out. Like, I've played with a couple of the pros every now and again, and that's one of the fun things we do when a new person comes out is like just go into a custom match and mess around.
Yeah.
Like see what you can do, see what works, see what different builds work. And then, I think about kind of going up to that next level of play. So if you're at a level where you think you've hit a wall, it's like, okay, well, what can I really do to improve my game? Well, it's like, okay, well, when I see an ability used by an enemy, do I memorize the cooldown?
No.
Like,
I don't. I'm like, well, he hit me with the fire. That hurt. So
Yeah,
I'll see you
so
again in 8 seconds or something.
Knowing, kind of if you can make a favorable trade in lane, it's like, okay, I'm a level up, so I know that this person's going to do this amount of damage and I can out-trade them and that'll set up a gank later, or I know that I have a 5-second window to engage because of this cooldown being down and I can probably win because of that. So it's just kind of like, looking at all those next level steps of the really, really high level play.
Yeah.
And I'd say that, checking out professional players and also the competitive play on Twitch, those guys stream 24/7.
Sure.
And it's always, high level ranked or masters ranked or scrims and stuff like that. Like every now and again you'll catch them doing something fun, but you're generally just watching the best of the best perform. And, you sit on your couch or whatever, and, maybe they'll say something that kind of resonates with you or kind of leads you in the direction of like, okay, well, this is really what I need to do to kind of up my game to the next level.
Right.
I think we should explain some concepts for people who are listening and might not know, like the concept of trading.
Sure.
Like for us, it's like, trading. I understand what that means, but it's basically if you're engaging with someone and they're going to do damage, it's whether you can do enough damage to justify the fact that you're engaging.
Make it worth it, yeah.
If you can't, you shouldn't be even engaging it with them. I also think another good concept that I know what value means in the definition of word, but it really, really struck me when I was playing Hearthstone. It's the concept of like, was that worth it? And it also ties in with trading. Like, okay, I can chase down this guy. I'm going to take some tower damage. I might die deep in their lines, but is putting them out of the game for 40 seconds going to be worth it while I'm out of the game too? It's like understanding the value of what you're doing versus whether it's just fun or it's going to have an impact on the game.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not just always just in sheer damage, right? Sometimes the thing is a cooldown.
Yeah.
That
Their ult. Yep.
Yeah, right. Like, hey, I'll take some damage, but I mean, if I can get some Wukong to blow his ult, and then he doesn't have that easy out. If he initiates on me with 72 transformations, and he has no way out if he's used his ult already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that might be your moment to set up a gank.
To lock him down and make sure he doesn't leave. Yep. And if you can get them to burn their actives, their potions.
Oh man, yeah, burning
them.
beads are like necessity.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's definitely something that I feel like is worth explaining. These concepts, like when you explained ganking at the beginning, I didn't even think about that. I was like, oh yeah, some people might not know what ganking means. Like,
No, absolutely. And I think, we're all different players, right? So we all have our own strengths and weaknesses. So I think saying, I think there's value in throwing it out there. Like, this is what I feel like I excel at, or this is what I feel like I need to work at, and then workshopping really what maybe, Kyle, you are super strong in an area that I'm super weak. So
let's trade information.
Yeah, I think it's important, So to that degree, like Blake said, like the pro scene is an incredible resource.
Oh yeah.
Like incredible. Just streamers in general, like even in your client watching Smite game, or what was the other? Smite Pro is the other one.
Smite Game 2 now.
Smite Game 2?
Yeah.
Even watching those streams, like anybody on there knows the game basically forwards and backwards almost to a degree. I mean, there's so much to learn, right? So
Would you say that again, I'm so new that this might not be a thing, but I was wondering, like finding optimal jungle routes and jungle paths, like for someone who plays that position, is like learning when to break off that route and participate in lane or gank, and then how to efficiently balance ganking and roaming with whatever the optimal jungle path is. I feel like is that a key element of at least playing that position?
Yeah, it definitely is. Because you can't just. There's no benefit to just dropping every buff and kind of hard farming, all the time. So learning, okay, I've taken 2 buffs and I'm going to rotate here, take this buff, and that's when the minion wave is spawning. So I know that if, I can tell my mid laner to push it out, maybe we can get a gank off. I think the jungle is probably the most time-focused and rotation-focused of being conscious of whatever's happening in other lanes. That's got to be the most intense role of that.
Your situational awareness is way up there, because like I main jungle, and when I say I main jungle, like I don't have a team or anything. It's just like when I get into conquest, I say, hey, I'd like to play in jungle, But But yeah, it's super situational awareness and sort of map awareness. Like you have to know where everything is, what's up, when it's coming back. And I think everyone should try to play jungle, right? If you have any interest in getting into Conquest, I think everyone should try to play jungle. At least if you don't play jungle, understand what jungle does, right? Because there's so much that goes into knowing where you're supposed to be and when you're supposed to be. And when you drop it, like the team suffers, right?
I fully endorse with what you're saying, like that everyone should learn jungle, but solely for the reason that it teaches people map awareness, which I think is one, if not the most important skill you should learn when playing a MOBA. Like map awareness just changes the game. Like
especially in Smite, where you don't have a top down.
Yeah, exactly. Like looking at the map and being like, oh wow, my team is super pushed over here, and I've got a lot of room. Maybe I should see if I can roam. Like I don't know how big that is in the conquest scene on Smite, but I know in League of Legends that's huge. Like a roam can absolutely change the tide for a lane until something else happens. I don't know if that's relevant in Smite.
Oh yeah, it's definitely relevant in Smite. And one of the things that I think a lot of people often overlook is how customizable the UI is.
Yeah.
My UI for Smite, my minimap.
Yeah, big, right?
I 100%ed it.
I need to see everything that goes on.
I see. A lot of people are like, let me go ahead and 35%. It's like no, you need that awareness.
Yeah.
Because if your eyesight is right here and the map's right here, and you see like a red dot.
Periffs, baby.
It's like all right,
just keep it all in the periph.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely agree also with jungle. Because I think a lot of people don't understand that if you get behind in jungle, you get behind.
Yeah. It's really hard.
There's only a finite number of camps that you can take, and
then if those are gone, you start draining from other players, right?
Exactly.
So
you're counter juggling.
So you become a hindrance, really.
Yeah.
Like every time I jungle, I'm tabbing, right? Because I'm watching the other jungler. Like I'm Bakasura and I'm watching Thor and I'm seeing where Thor's gold is, and I was like, I gotta step it up. And get behind.
That's something I do like about Smite is they put both the team gold and every player's gold, right? Yeah. And like the information is super accessible, and I really like that. With League, that's only available in a spectator mode.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of information to adapt your play.
Yeah. That's the best way to do it is if you have all the information accessible. Is like that's the fastest way to figure out what you need to be doing differently. Like, oh, this guy's got way more gold than me, even though I've got more kills. Well, okay, he's ahead.
Yeah.
That's a fact. So you should try and do what he's doing.
Just being aware, right? And I mean, this is stuff that we're all aware of, yet I feel like there's still a million things that I can do to get better, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
for sure.
For resources like that, then I would point you to watching the Smite Pro League, right? Which every weekend has teams just like really going head to head, and some of the I watch the Smite Pro League and I'm just blown away, right? Because they are just so much better than I'll ever be.
It's a whole nother level of play.
It really is. It's
they make the game look just way easier than it is.
Yeah. It's not even. It's like they're playing a different game.
Yeah, right? I got a different client.
Yeah, exactly.
You ever just get depressed? You're like, I'm pretty good, and you watch Pro League.
I don't actually. I don't. Like every time I watch this Smite Pro League, the first thing I want to do is go play Smite.
Yeah.
And go like jump into a conquest and being like, I learned all these new things. Guess what, guys? You're gonna lose.
You're gonna lose.
But of course, there's a lot more to it than that. But
I'm curious. To me, one of the big things that I look at least in the support position in Dota, to me the big difference between like an okay support and a good one or a good one and a great one is their warding. You know? And now I don't know who in Smite. I haven't figured out yet who in Smite is responsible for the warding.
Should be everyone, right?
Everyone is responsible.
Everyone.
But
everyone
this
is. Okay.
This is a great subject to curtail into Conquest, right? Like, so I think Conquest is really the main mode that you kind of want to build towards in Smite. So like warding is,
it's that
huge.
Yeah,
25% of it.
Vision is life.
Vision wins games.
Yeah, Vision wins games.
Any MOBA, Vision wins games hands down.
So, I mean, like Vince is curious about warding, which is part of the meta. Well, sort of part of just best practices. But if you want to get involved in the meta, right? If you want to know how to play a conquest, right? What's the best way to do that? Because, I mean, Season 2 just started, right? Meta is completely different now.
Right.
So, and for people who don't know, meta is really just the best practices for a match, right?
Yeah, essentially playing the best that you can on the patch. Like the expected way to play is kind of the meta play, I would guess. But I would say, best thing that you could do, and it may just be because I, work in the eSports, is go and look and see how those guys are doing it.
Yeah.
Does the support by 2 wards at the beginning, and he places one here and he places one here so that everybody can see the jungle route that the jungler's taking. Like, what do you do with that information? Or is that meta? Seeing jungle routes is like, those guys can show you an exact template of how the game should be played. And, you can check on YouTube for that. You can check on Twitch for that. And just watching a couple of those until you get it under your belt and you feel comfortable enough to actually go in and try to replicate some of that scenario. And then, if you fail at something, go back and watch it again, try it again. Like, MOBAs, I don't think that, it's very rare that you find somebody that just gets it the first time. A lot of MOBAs.
There's a lot to get.
Yeah, it's a lot of learning and it's a lot of practicing. Like with the Dota 2 University joke, like it's just a game that takes hundreds and hundreds of literal hours to really really be good at, and it's hard to say for other games. Like MOBAs are just kind of that unique.
Yeah, there are those many moving parts to get your brain around. For sure, and even knowing what those concepts are, transitioning into Smite is still a whole new. It's like going from one Romance language to the other, right? It's like going from Spanish to French or something, or Spanish to Italian. The concepts are there. Some of the words are the same.
Yeah.
But there's still all these subtle differences that you have to wrap your brain around. But yeah, I'm like, warding is like, I love warding. I'm like a ward nut. I love
Well,
vision.
I already love you.
I love you.
Already. That's all you had to tell me. Yeah.
No, I love that. So a lot of my learning over the weekend is just like figuring out where the optimal, ward placings are. And I don't know, maybe you could say that's a basic thing, but I also feel like that's the difference between good and great play.
Yeah,
Super
absolutely.
high level. Yeah. Like a good support will always ward. A great support will ward consistently, and like you'll never lose coverage.
And not even that, a good player will ward when they can.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're a jungler, if I'm a jungler and I've got like 50 gold sitting there, I'm like, well, I could use it one right now.
Yeah.
I'll buy it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like if you're ever leaving base with enough money to buy a ward, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Generally speaking.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
absolutely. I agree. And you were mentioning watching pros. It's also like watching those guys. It will give you a good idea of. I found a bunch of pros when I was really into League that I really like to watch, and you pick up things like, oh, he grabs wards, but he doesn't really drop it till 6 minutes in, and why is that? And then sometimes they'll say, or you can figure it out, because no one's going to show up until 6 minutes in, so that's when you need the ward coverage. Or however, it's just there's a good way. We can't tell you exactly what you'll take from the pros, but you will pick up something.
Yeah, just find out what. Basically, if they're doing something that you don't know why they're doing it, that's an opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
And that's for any YouTuber out there.
Sure. Yeah.
YouTuber or just content creator, I guess, is a better way.
Yeah.
Default to YouTube.
Yeah. Anybody that creates content for Smite, really. I mean, if you're creating something for Smite, obviously you know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Like otherwise, no one's gonna watch it anyway. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we're running out of time, but I think that's it's a pretty good place to sort of.
Wind us down.
Start to wind us down.
Is that why you talk?
I could.
That's why Brandon's putting on the late night talk show voice.
I know.
So,
Thank you for
guys,
coming
it's
out.
about done.
It's like public radio.
Yeah.
Welcome to Godlike.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Okay, I'm falling this
and
week.
nerding out about
Smite.
all the different things that you can learn in Smite.
I'm gonna call you Smooth Ramon.
Oh my God, I'm changing my name to that.
Stay cool, you crazy cats. So yeah, I guess take us home. Is there anything that you really feel? People who play Smite, people who want to play Smite. I know a lot of people are really pouring into the game right now, thanks in a big way to the Xbox One version, right? Opening up like a whole new level of audience. Something you might not know, last weekend on the Xbox One version, all of the gods were unlocked on the
Yes, they
alpha.
were.
And I've been in contact with Hi-Rez, and they have told us that every weekend the alpha continues, all the gods will be unlocked on the Xbox One
That's
version.
awesome.
So if you're in there and you really liked what you saw, now's your chance to get in and keep playing new gods that you haven't tried yet.
Sweet.
But yeah, anything you want to finish off with?
What's your Twitter handle?
Well, okay, yeah, let's do that right now.
Oh,
Kyle, where can they find you?
No, I'm talking about him. Like what you asked him what he wants to plug,
Sure.
anything he wants to say. I think definitely you should tell people where they can reach you.
Yeah. So if anybody has any questions or wants to play or likes what I do, at mblakew on Twitter. Same thing on pretty much the entire internet.
Yeah, right.
Twitch, everything else.
It's important to have a brand.
Yeah.
Oh God, you said the B word.
Brand yourself. Think about your personal brand. Ugh.
But I'm interested to read some of the comments below and see kind of what people thought and what we could better address.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a work in progress, right?
Yeah, like it's a MOBA. You're gonna die. You're gonna get frustrated.
Yeah.
But persevere. Have fun.
Don't take it
That's
out.
the biggest thing.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna be a professional player, have fun.
Yeah.
It's a video game. Like,
Yeah.
You're,
you can be a great video game player, but have fun.
the majority of you will never make money off Smite, right? Like, I will never make a dime off
I'm
Smite.
done.
Yeah, I know. I'm out.
I'm out, guys.
Someone lied to me.
Someone lied from the
That's
get-go.
what. That's what you should really. You hand people a new packet of information about a game. It's like you just have fun. You won't make money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you won't make money. Yeah.
If you can take these small words, you're gonna enjoy yourself a lot better.
Yeah, just understand you're spending parts of your life to play this game. So
Yeah.
just try to enjoy those parts because you're never going to get them back.
Stay in school.
Yeah, and stay in school. Don't do drugs. Never forget. So, what do you want to? What are you working on these days? Just kind
Totally.
of derailed the train totally. I didn't do that. Yeah, go ahead. What are you working on these days? What do you want? Where do you want people to go to find you?
It's
Outside of Twitter?
Just Twitch and Twitter is generally kind of the thing I do.
Cool.
So if anybody also in game, MBlakeW in Smite as
Ooh,
well.
giving out your handle.
So if anybody wants to add me,
Man, you're gonna get so many arena requests.
we'll play some arena.
We'll play some arena.
Request storming bound.
I'm gonna be
Yeah.
one of them and be like, hey Blake, remember me? We were like sitting next to
I'll
each
wear
other.
my ranked arena icon
Yeah.
that I got from back in the day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Kyle, where can they find you?
At Kyle that Kyle.
At
On
Kyle that Kyle.
Everything.
On everything. What, are you
Yeah.
working on anything lately?
You mean Smite related?
Just in general.
I've been having a lot of fun playing Smite on the Xbox One. I'm gonna keep it Smite related. Yeah, it's just so much fun. I'm getting so many of my friends into it that are like, I have a lot of friends that really were interested in MOBAs but didn't want to really play them because it was PC and there was that whole like weird mouse and keyboard issue. But yeah, the Smite on the Xbox One, super duper fun.
Cool.
Getting into that.
Vince?
Yeah, I am at Vincognito on Twitter. That's VINCOGNEATO. And I write a few reviews here and there for the IGN.com.
Yeah. Anyone recently?
Yeah, my most recent one that I'm really happy with because the game is awesome and because I feel like not enough people are paying attention to it. Go play Helldivers.
Yeah.
When you're not playing Smite or another MOBA of your choice, or Smite. Yeah, play
Helldivers?
Helldivers. Yeah, you're playing Helldivers. Yeah.
I bought a PS4 this weekend just so I could. That was like the straw that finally broke the back.
I played Cities and Skylines this weekend.
Nothing wrong with that.
Another good one.
Another great
Nothing
game.
wrong with that at all.
Lots
but-
of great games, guys. Lots of great games.
really
Yep.
good time.
And
to
you're
get
never going to
gaming.
make money on any of them.
But yeah, Helldivers, my review. Watch it with your eye holes and then play it with your fingers because the game's pretty rad.
If you have eye holes, I think you got bigger deals.
Yeah,
Bigger
probably
problems.
other things to take care of.
Yeah. I am at Brandon Tyrell on Twitter, just my full name, because it's easy. I don't have anything going on. Like, I don't even know what I do here. Watch IGN Godlike.
You just
it's,
collect a paycheck.
Watch Godlike.
Yeah.
Or watching
Watch
Godlike.
IGN Godlike.
Share
It's
it with your friends.
important. Yeah.
Send us love letters.
Yeah.
The back catalog.
Yeah. Seriously, we have 2 episodes in the bank. You can follow everything Godlike related. It'll be on IGN Arena.
Yeah.
What's the Twitter handle on that?
At IGN_arena.
At IGN_arena. You can also email us, and we love it when you do, because
We read all of them.
we don't know what to do without your questions. So you can reach us at godlike@ign.com.
Yes, sir.
Am I forgetting anything at all? Go to ign.com.
I can't think
Just
of
for
anything.
no other reason. Just
I
do
know.
it.
I know I'm going to think of something, but I
Yeah.
can't right now.
It's always this thing.
You can thank our guests.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm going to do that. Thank you. Vince.
Give me the dirtiest look ever.
I live for that from Brandon. I mess with him purely
does.
just for the
He
hate
loves
that
the
I get
look.
from
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, it's just the seething sort of hatred. Blake, thank you so much for joining us today. Really.
Thanks for having
A
me.
lot of great insight, and really, I know we kind of get off topic easily, but I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah, and remember, play with him online because he just gave out his Twitter his handle. So bug this man. Cool. So for everyone here, thank you for watching. Email us, hit us up on Twitter, and we will see you next episode. Take care.